Everybody, so now we will see next option in the macro editing. How do you comment a code and why do you comment a code, and little bit more extra things in that. Okay, so to open a VBA editor, I will click on view to view the code. I click on this and I say view a macro. I click on formatting macro and I say edit. So my VB editor has opened. Now over here what can happen? Now you have run a macro which says font should be bold equal to false. Let's say you say true. So now whenever you are running a macro, font is becoming bold and font is also becoming italic. Let's say you got a requirement that as of now, whenever you run a macro, your font should not be bold. But you don't know, after 1 week, client might again request, no, I want to bring that code back once again. So if you come here, as of now, you don't need bold. So if you select and delete, it's okay, but in future again they want, then again you have to type the code. So instead of that, what is advisable is you comment this code instead of deleting. So I will come before S over here and I will put a single quote which is before enter key. So I put a single quote and don't press enter, because if you press enter it will become like this. So just put a single quote and press a down arrow key. The line will become green. So now this has become green line. Green line means it's a comment code. This code will not run. This should be your best practice. Whenever you want to comment something, you just put a single quote, don't delete. When finally everything happens, then if you want to delete to reduce that, you can delete that, but commenting is always good part. Okay, this is one part. Now friends, we will move little bit more ahead. Now what we will do, we will try to create our own macro without recording. This is actual aim of this code. Till now we said record, run, create button, relative reference, everything was good. But finally if you want to become a hardcore programmer, you should write your own codes. Okay? Now there is a question which come into your mind, some of your minds, that when we can record a macro for everything, why we should write a code? So macro recording can be done for some of the actions. For example, I will give you a scenario. You have this data and you want to run a macro, but before running a macro should check if all the heading is filled or no, or if the sales amount is greater than 100, or if the sales amount is less than 10, it should delete that rows. These are the conditional thing. This macro will not record. You want whenever you run a macro, a message box should come. How will you record the message box screen? How the message box will come? There is no options for that. Getting? So if you want to do a macro conditional based, okay, you can't record a macro. Means, okay, if the heading is a product, then it should change it with item. If over here it is REP, instead of that it should be name. How it will record? Okay, so for this conditional based items, you will always use a programming. You will write your code, okay, if this is this, do this, if sales is greater than this, do this, something like that. Okay, so it will be very flexible for you to work with the programming part. Okay, hence we need to know the programming. So now we will see how do you write your own macro, okay, step by step. So what I will do, I will again go to view, macro, and view a macro, and I say formatting and I say edit. My screen is open. So whenever you record a macro, he created module 1, he created module 2 and have filled the code into that. I want my macro. In this also you can continue below in the end, but I will go step by step. So let's add a new fresh module so you understand very clearly. Now I wish to add a module over here. Now I will right click on this white area over here. Just right click with mouse, and over here you will see insert option. Click on insert and you will see insert a user form. What is user form? If you want to create a small application in Excel, you can even create a softwares in Excel. Okay. So, okay, that is not our aim for this part. So as of now, I will say insert a module. So when you click on a module, a blank module has been inserted. Now over here on the left hand side, you will see module 3, and here is the white area. This is the white area where we will be working next all 2 days. Okay. How do you start a macro? The first line to write a macro name is sub. You will type sub, you will press a space bar and give a name to a macro. Okay. Uh, let's say for example, copying macro. Okay, let's type copying. So copying, copying. Now, slowly, as soon as you become little bit more experienced, you will come to know here you should not give a macro name as sheet. Why? Because sheet is a keyword for Excel. Sheet denotes this sheet. You should not give a word like normal, for example, filter. So there are some keywords which you should not give in the macro, which is regular. So give some different name like formatting 1, formatting 2, copying data. Okay, something like that. So over here I can say copying 1. Don't give COPY, copy. That might be a reserved word for him. Okay, yeah, because you are not getting this space. Why you know Java? This because you have inserted a user form, sir, by mistake. You have to insert a. So what you did by mistake, you did like this. Right click, insert, and you clicked on user form. Hence, you are getting this. Okay. So, okay. How you can delete that? Good question. So what you have to do, you don't have to do anything over here. Can you see when you insert a user form, you see user form 1 over here. So you just have to right click on this boss, and over here you will see remove user form 1. See, if you would have not done this mistake, you would have not come to know. So like go on doing mistakes and we will learn all these things. Yeah. So click on you remove user from. It will ask you, do you want to export? People don't read and they say yes, but we don't want to export. So say no. Okay. Now you will right click over here, insert, and you say module. Got it? Very good. So I will say sub copying. After copying 1, okay, you will press enter. As soon as you press enter, you will see something. End sub has automatically come. Now your cursor is between these both the line. Na? Press cut, enter. Enter to make the space to create the code. Okay, done. Simple. Okay. Now whatever codes you will write, it will be between these both. If you write any code after end sub, that will not be executed. Always write between these two lines. Okay. Let's start with something very simple. Okay. Let's say whenever user runs a macro, okay, first a message box should come. That starting macro, something like that. Okay, just to get an idea. So I will say MSG box message box. Okay, yeah, you have to type with me, yeah. Yeah, okay, so message, acha. Now you will say Ramzan, I will write full word message box MESS, so it will not work. Whatever is they have given, you have to follow the rule. Okay, MSG box only you write. Message box space bar, and in double quotes whatever you wish you can write. And let's say for example I say starting consolidation macro, which we will see inshallah tomorrow. Okay, starting consolidation macro. Okay, this will come. Okay, and Here I will write one more message box, msgbox, double quotes, and say macro completed successfully. Macro completed successfully. And in this both between, we should write all the codes, copying, message, this, everything, consolidation, all these codes will come, which we will see very slowly. Now we are just creating a framework to give you the complete idea. Okay, done. Now let's say you have typed this code, the name of the macro is copying, you have put two message box. Now you want to run a macro. Now you will come to know another way of recording a macro, sorry, running a macro. If you want to run a macro, you tell me how you will run. First is you have to run a shortcut. You have not defined here any shortcut till now, right? What is another way of running? Hmm? Creating a button. So you close this and again create a button. What is the third way of running? You go to the view, run a macro, view macro, run a macro. But as a developer, when you are working in this code window, here itself you can run either with shortcut, either with play button. Run with shortcut, next video. Okay, in this, I will just put my cursor in the top, and here if you will see one option, that one arrow, play arrow. The shortcut is F5. Okay, so I will come on this arrow in VB editor. I come on this and click, and it will give you one message box, starting consolidation. So whenever a user runs a macro, this will come. As soon as you say OK, macro will run, and after that again a message box will come, macro completed successfully. And just so this practice was just to give you idea how a message box comes and how do you add a module, what is sub, what is end sub, and all this all about. Okay, so I hope you have understood at least a little bit more editing part. Yeah, thank you.